Alrighty, so for a long time, the housing market has been ideal if you're a home seller. Homes were flying off the shelves. Buyers had to compete like crazy just for the opportunity to possibly be in the running, maybe to win a home. Waiving inspections, throwing out appraisals, bidding tens of thousands of dollars over the listed price. Buyers were doing anything they could to win the home of their dreams. But lately, things are starting to shift. Some areas are still super competitive for buyers, including here in Missouri, while other areas are seeing more homes sit on the market, giving buyers a little bit more breathing room. In other words, today's housing market is complicated. It is a tale of two different housing markets, and knowing which market you are in makes a huge difference when you buy or sell a home. All right, so what is a buyer's market versus what is a seller's market? In a buyer's market, there are a lot of homes for sale and not as many people buying. And with fewer buyers competing for these homes, that means homes generally sit longer on the market and they may not sell for as much as they could have in a seller's market. And in these situations, buyers have more room to negotiate. Now, on the flip side, in a seller's market, home supply is down, home inventory is at a premium, and there aren't enough homes for sale for the number of buyers who are trying to purchase them. And in this case, homes sell faster, sellers get multiple offers, and home prices shoot higher because buyers are willing to pay more to win the home. But now the market is finally starting to balance out. For years, almost every market in the country was a strong seller's market, which made it incredibly tough for buyers, especially first-time home buyers. But now, the real estate market is starting to shift. According to Zillow, the national housing market is finally starting to balance out. And in a more balanced or neutral market, homes tend to stay on the market a little bit longer, bidding wars are a little less common, and sellers may actually need to make concessions like price reductions or helping a buyer with closing costs. And if you are a potential home buyer, this shift gives you more opportunities and less competition than you faced a couple years ago. So why is the housing market changing? Well, home inventory plays probably the biggest role. And when there are more homes for sale, buyers have more options. And when those options happen, it cools down home price growth. But the housing market isn't the same in every location. In fact, according to Realtor.com, the supply of available homes for sale isn't growing at the same rate nationwide. For example, in the South and West regions of the United States, we are starting to experience bigger jumps in housing inventory over the past year to year and a half, with both regions finally seeing housing inventory levels back to where they were pre-2020. And with home inventory levels rising in those areas, that's why we are seeing more of a buyer's market in those specific regions. Now, while the South and West regions of the United States are starting to see an increase in home inventory, the story is quite different in the Northeast and in the Midwest portions of the United States, where home inventory levels are still continuing to be near record lows, which means those living in the Northeast and the Midwest are more likely to continue to experience a seller's market for the foreseeable future, at least until the housing inventory levels start to balance out. So what does this mean for you? What it means is every local market is different. And even if national headlines say one thing, your town or even your neighborhood could be telling a totally different story. And knowing which type of market you are in helps you make smarter decisions for your next move. The bottom line is this: if you are ready to make a move or even just thinking about it, knowing your local market's housing situation is incredibly important when deciding how to win the home of your dreams. Catch you guys next time.